raising the flag. We ain't never gonna lag. Stone cold hearts in the land of the free. Galvanized truth, just you and me. Freedom ain't cheap, gotta hold tight. In Jersey, sure we'll win this fight. No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets, our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time. Jersey show, we got the fight. Stand together through the night. America first, raising the flag. We ain't never gonna lag.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Jersey Shore podcast. That is SURE because we are always sure. It's coming to you live from First Amendment Live Studios under the Great America's Pulse Network. I'm your host, Damon Galdo. May have a guest come on, Pete Sykes, later on when he gets out of work. He might come on, when he gets home. If it comes in the back room, we'll let him in, maybe around the second segment, first or the third segment, depending on when he gets home. But before I start with the monologue, I just want to say we have some breaking news. This came out. FBI Director Kash Patel said on Friday that federal agents arrested Milwaukee County, Wisconsin judge who is suspected of helping an illegal immigrant from Mexico evade immigration and customs enforcement officers. Last week, ICE agents showed up at a Milwaukee courthouse to arrest a Mexican citizen after a hearing before Judge Hannah Dugan. The judge directed ICE agents to wait in Chief Judge Carl Ashley's office and then told the defendant to exit the courtroom through the side door. So she helped an illegal migrant escape from ICE. So FBI arrested her, and good for her. I'm not going to get into the whole story, but that's the gist of it. That's not the only one, though. So let's go down to the next one here. So next story that we have here is federal agents arrested a former New Mexico Democrat judge and his wife on Thursday after they were accused of harboring a suspected member of Tren de Aragua at their home. Former Donna Ana County Magistrate Judge Jose Joel Canio, I guess I'm pronouncing that right, and his wife Nancy were taken into custody by immigration and customs enforcement at their home in Las Cruces, according to KFOX 14, who reported that. Both the 67-year-old former judge and his wife were charged with tampering with evidence. The couple is currently in custody of Dona Ana County Jail, awaiting their appearance in a federal court. They were arrested as a part of a probe by Homeland Security investigations into their association with 23-year-old Christian Ortega Lopez, who authorities say is linked to Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang that we all know of, we talk about a lot, that has helped designed, that has been designated as a foreign terrorist organization by the Trump organization. So there you go. So more Democrats fighting to keep illegal, criminal, gang member, terrorist migrants here in the United States. So still, I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of hearing. I mean, I'm going to talk about this guy Ortega again today because they won't shut up about it on mainstream media. So I might as well. If they want to keep calling him the Maryland father, I'm going to talk about him again. But anyway, welcome back to the Jersey Shore, and that is SURE because we are always sure. Thank you guys for tuning in. So, like I said, I'm your host, Damon Galdo, coming to here live from First Amendment Live Studios. I'll say it again, under the Great America's Pulse Network. So I want to talk about some of the segments that we're going to have today. We're going to talk about TDS over BDS, which is Trump derangement syndrome versus Biden decline syndrome. So basically what's going on after Biden's decline, and everyone knows what TDS is, Trump derangement syndrome. So, I mean, let's be real. Trump walked over water. He would say that he's polluting the ocean. That's basically what it is. Every single movie makes, he's met with outrage, no matter how standard or effective the policy is, but that's just the way they are. They just can't stand Trump. I mean, remember when Trump, again, when he cracked down on gang violence and deported MS-13 members, the left freaked out. They completely freaked out, and they were clinging onto it. I mean, just recently, when he endorsed the deportation of Abrego Garcia, who's all over the news now, a known MS-13 associate, involved in human trafficking. The left tried to spin it into some wild dystopian nightmare. And even Representative Jasmine Crockett, who, don't get me started on her, had the audacity to say that Trump was more dangerous than the gang member being deported. That's TDS in action, completely unhinged, zero logic right there from Jasmine Crockett. I mean, you're not going to get any logical out of her anyway. But I mean, when they tried to go after Trump over Doge, that it had a little wave, but that wave fizzled out. So once that wave fizzles out, then they have to find something else to stick. So after it didn't go with Doge, they flopped. So they moved on like they always do, jumping from one fake scandal to another fake scandal, hoping that something sticks. But they were obsessed with taking down Trump. They were hiding, something worse. Biden, BDS, Biden decline syndrome. Now, you're watching the effects of what I'm calling Biden decline syndrome. It's the mental gymnastics that the media Democratic establishment did for years over Biden's cover-up of his cognitive decline. So they gaslit the American people. They said it was a stutter, or it was I think they called it cheap fakes, or it was edited, showing confusion, memory loss, and all that stuff. They even bullied people into silence, calling them ageists or conspiracy theorists. But now even the DNC can't hide it anymore. The decline is undeniable. It completely is. And the truth is, they covered it up, not because they believed in Biden. They just feared Trump that much. That's why they covered it up. They committed political malpractice. They sold out the country, and now they're stuck with a failing figurehead propped up for power. And they propped him up. He failed, and then they had to push in Harris, failed, and now they're moving on to somebody to talk about AOC. We'll talk about her in the second segment. Now, AOC, if BDS wasn't enough, Biden decline syndrome, now the Democrats are floating Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as a serious contender for the presidential race in 2028. Why? I guess because she's popular on TikTok and Instagram. I mean, let's be serious. AOC couldn't pass a 7th grade economic quiz or civics quiz. She couldn't. She never even peaked, let alone to have the ability to decline. So I don't know where they're going with that. So, she has decent poll numbers with young, like far left Gen Zers, but she has zero understanding of government, foreign policy, or economics. Bill Maher even said it out loud. Most Democrats are whispering. He said, "This is who we're putting forward now." That's the intellectual standards that they have now. They're falling right through the floor. AOC is proof that the left are trading competence for clicks. So they don't really care about the candidate. They care about popularity. They care about the clicks and the social media, and that's what they're riding on, not on policy, not on anything. And like I said before, you can hate Trump all you want. You can hate the man, but his policies are working. I know there are a lot of Republicans that are upset with him right now with certain amount of things, because the number one thing when you're president, doesn't matter what else you do. It really doesn't matter. The economy is number one. If you don't have a good economy and the economy's not thriving, then that's the number one thing people look at. Now, he was elected on his stance on the border, and deportation and securing the border. He was elected on other things about transgender issues and with the kids in schools and men playing in women's sports. But the main thing that people look at is their wallets. So I would still give it a little bit of time. I know Trump is out there kind of throwing things and see what's going to stick and see who comes to the table. And he is getting people to the table. Now, it's kind of like I said before, the art of the deal. You go heavy, go hard, and everyone's all up in arms. Are freaking out. The whole world's freaking out. And then Trump starts to dial it back a little bit, and you see the market start to fluctuate and go back up. He's seeing how far he can get. So basically, you just shake the tree, see what falls out, and that's what he's doing. So just give it a little bit more time. I didn't think it was actually going to happen this fast anyway, but I thought we were going to go all the way through the summer with this into November, which I was kind of worried about that election. But it looks like he's getting there a little bit faster. So, but so AOC has proved to the left, like I said, is they're going for incompetence because they don't really care. They just want anybody that's somewhat popular. That's what it is. And if that's the future Democratic Party, then they're in real trouble. So, and then we're going to go on in the third segment. We're going to talk about New Jersey's gubernatorial race, who's in it, where they're looking, and talk about where we're going to be next Friday, May 2nd. We'll get that at the end. So if Trump derangement syndrome, made the left lose their minds, Biden's decline syndrome made them lose credibility. And now we've got a potential future president with TikTok, aka AOC. So that's where we're at. America needs clear eyes, strong leadership, and a media that actually tells the truth. That's why we're here. That's what we're fighting for right here on Jersey Shore, SURE. So stay alert, stay engaged, and as always, stay sure. So let's roll in our first segment.
Take the stand from shore to shore. We reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore, we make our stand.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the first segment here. So we have this is the first segment. Like I said, we're calling this TDS and BDS. So it is Trump derangement syndrome and versus Biden derangement syndrome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a couple of clips. Elizabeth Warren went on a podcast and she did a full hour, which I was shocked. So Democrats don't typically do that. Usually they go in scripted. They know the question, they know where they're going with it, and you could tell that it's scripted, and they can't last an hour. They can't go on script for an hour. So any kind of podcast they're on is usually 20 minutes, and you can tell they're softball questions that they asked. Well, Elizabeth Warren just did this one podcast, and I don't think she saw it coming. The guy is a Democrat, and he's on her side for the most part, but he did ask her tough questions. And when you ask them tough questions, and they're stuck and they have to answer it. The things that they say are unbelievable, and he got her on a few questions, and I'm glad that he did. And, then finally somebody pressed him. She went in there thinking it was going to be a walk through the park, and she was asked some serious questions, and she bombed on a lot of them. So let's start off.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that. The thing is, he was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him. Live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
All right. Fair enough.
All right, everybody. So you see that right there. She was pushed on Biden's decline. And she said, I saw him. He was standing, and he was sharp. Then the fact is that she almost laughed when he said, do you think he was as sharp as you? And she almost laughed when he asked that question. So she didn't see it coming, obviously. But saying that, well, I just said that I didn't see the decline. I seen him walking. And he even called her. I said, well, walking, standing, completing a sentence. I mean, he can still be the president. I mean, anybody can complete a sentence. My 6-year-old can complete a sentence. My 6-year-old can stand. He can walk. Is he qualified to be the president? So again, Elizabeth Warren is a joke. I had her loser of the week a few times. It's been a while. But I'm not going to have her this week because you're going to be loser of the week so many times. You got to make some room. So, but she runs a close second almost every week. But you can see it right there. I mean, they're stuck. They hid Biden for so long. The media hid him for so long because they didn't know what to do. They knew he was in decline. They really didn't want Kamala to be president, to run. And I really believe that Biden stuck it to him because Biden got pushed out. I said it before, Jill wearing that red dress, she went and voted for Trump because they didn't want to get pushed out. And when Biden was pushed out, we talked about this a while ago when this happened. Now, think about it. Biden put out a statement on X. I think it was on a Saturday on X. No press conference saying that he's dropping out of the presidential race. Now, he's the incumbent. And then you would think there'd be a major press conference for him to come out and say he's dropping out of the race. Instead, he puts out a letter on X on a Saturday saying that he's dropping out of the race, and he fully endorses Kamala Harris. Now, I think that was right after Pelosi and Barack Obama left his house and, knifed him in the back and left him for dead in his yard. Then that's what he did. He went out and put it out there. Him endorsing Kamala had their hands tied, so they had to go with Kamala Harris. So that was one of his one of his last digs into that for them pushing him out. I would say his final dig was one of Kamala's last speeches at the White House at one of her last rallies. And as she's giving her biggest speech ever, I would say it was one of her better ones anyway. I mean, there was none that were good, but it was above horrible a little bit. That's when Biden somehow found his way onto Skype, which you damn well know the man doesn't know how to. He can't even walk upstairs. He battles with that. He's not getting on Skype by himself, so somebody put him on there. And during her speech, he calls all Trump voters and Trump supporters garbage. So that really helped out there. So that was probably the last dig that he threw at her. So again, Elizabeth Warren, I mean, we're going to go through this interview piece by piece. Now, this next clip I want to play, I was going to do like a start and stop and talk in between it, but I'm just going to let the whole clip roll, and then I'll just piece together, some of the things that she said that. Let's just roll the clip, and then we'll go
right
through it.
next to Donald Trump is a man that you've called an unelected billionaire now serving as the co-president, and Elon Musk. Just this week, you introduced the SEER Act, which is designed to strengthen transparency and ethics requirements for special government employees like Musk. Now, I think increasing transparency is a very good idea, and I wouldn't trust Elon Musk with just about anything.
I'm trying to finish that sentence for you and thinking
almost nothing.
Almost nothing.
But many Republicans voted Donald Trump not in spite of Elon Musk's presence, but because of it. Do you think Elon was able to have an outsized role in Trump's campaign beyond the interference he ran on Twitter, which is clear? Because we have not passed significant campaign finance reform.
Oh, yes.
Why was eliminating super PACs not something you wanted to do in 2021 when the Democrats had the House and the Senate?
Oh, it is something I've wanted to do for a long, long time. Yes, we need campaign finance reform. Indeed, if you had to pick two words for the Trump administration and Elon, one would be chaos, and the other would be corruption. And it's the corruption of spending $1/3 billion to get somebody elected president of the United States. It's the corruption of being the guy. Are you ready for this? Did you know that Elon Musk makes $8 million a day?
So there you go. Now, so she goes into, now remember, he asked something about eliminating super PACs there. So we'll remember that for later. And then talking about Elon Musk and everything else. I mean, she is just a joke. And we're going to get into other clips where she actually took PAC money from that. And so what if Elon Musk makes $8 million a day? How much do you make a day? That's what I want to know. I should have looked up her net worth before the show. I really should have, because I mean, she's been in for a while. She's rich. She's makes somehow way beyond her salary, and you can just tell when they're lying, that they're not sincere enough. I mean, when you talk to somebody like Trump, now Trump's not the best. He's very direct, but you can tell that when he's serious, and then you can actually tell when he's kind of playing a little bit, throwing something out there to see if it's going to stick, see how people react. But when he's serious about something, you can see it. When you have somebody like Elizabeth Warren getting, asked real questions, you could see her stutter. Even when the previous clip about Biden's decline and her being, her being as sharp, Biden being as sharp as her, you can see the stutter and the pause before they answer the question, because they don't know what they're going to say. Because right now, the truth is out. It is what it is. It's already out. So they can't hide behind it. They can't lie anymore. They can't talk about anything saying, well, no, that's not what happened. I didn't see decline. I didn't see decline at all. Well, yeah, you did. You just hit it and lied about it. And it's just amazing. I wish more Democrats would go. You know what? I wish an AOC would do an hour, but we're going to get into that next segment. An hour with Rogan, he does like 2-3 hours. I don't think they would last. I mean, they wouldn't, because they run out of lies. I mean, that's what it is. They run out of lies. They want to talk about Musk. They want to talk about Doge. They want to talk about how they're going to cut Social Security and people can't get their Social Security checks. No, everyone's getting their Social Security checks. When they're done with this, I mean, Elon and his team already said that people will be receiving more money in their Social Security benefits than they would have prior to that, because they are cutting away all of the fat and all of the corruption, all the people receiving checks that shouldn't be getting them, people that are dead that are receiving them. And it's true, there were people that were dead. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people that were 150, maybe 2 or 3, but still, he found out that there were babies not even born yet collecting unemployment. That's not a bad gig. I mean, I wish my mom would have signed me up, in the first trimester, and maybe I had a little bit of startup money when I came out, get some formula. But that's the way they are right now. So now this is this next clip right now, and I'm going to roll through, and you'll see Elizabeth Warren and everything she has to say is full of shit. So let's go to S1V3, and this is where she will fight the fight.
If this doesn't make us get in the fight, I mean, this is it. This is the moment. We are at a moment in history here where this is about turning our country over to a king and a handful of noblemen formerly known as billionaires.
So in 2021,
and they get to run the whole damn thing.
Tell me why in 2021, when you had the power, it wasn't top of mind.
I don't think I would describe it as not top of mind.
Well, I would describe it as not being present.
We didn't. I am there to fight this fight.
Okay.
We fight on the front foot on this. It is something we have got to get done.
All right, so there you go. They're going to fight the fight. It's something they've got to get done. What fight are you fighting other than making stuff up? And it's just, I'm sorry I got to put you through this clip, but all these clips, but you got to see them. You got to realize that she's not really talking about anything. They dance around questions. They never actually answer the direct question. And that's what all politicians are good for. I mean, I struggled with that when I was asked questions that either they were tough to answer or I wasn't 100% sure. If I wasn't 100% sure, it was an easier one. I would say what I knew about it, and then I would go back and I would say, all right, I have to look more into that. I said, I can't really speak on it too much because I don't know, but thank you for bringing it up, and I will look into it. So next time I'm asked this question, I'll understand it more, and I'll be honest with it. But if it was something that I didn't want to answer, thinking it may hurt the campaign or something like that, I would just answer honestly. I never really danced around it because I figured, even if it was something like abortion, it was always like a hot topic. Everyone always asked me, what is your stance on abortion? I said, well, I am pro-life, but, as of right now, it's in the hands of the states. I was running for Congress. It's a federal office, so it has nothing to do with it. So it doesn't matter what my stance on abortion is. So but I am pro-life. So if I could talk somebody out of not having an abortion, I would do so. But right now it's the law, so it's the law. It is what it is. I don't want people pointing their finger in my face and telling me how to live my life, and I'm not going to do it to others. Do I think that maybe down the line they may regret it? Maybe they won't. I mean, I'm not sure. But that's on them. That's their life, and then they have to deal with it after the fact. So that's what it is. So let's roll the next clip about this PAC money. Let's roll S1V4.
You had opposed super PAC money for a long time.
Yep.
Then in February of 2020, less than a month before you dropped out, you accepted $14.6 million in super PAC money from a woman named Carla Jurvetson, whose philanthropy is in part funded by her ex-husband, Stephen Jurvetson, who is a billionaire who is still on the board of SpaceX and was an early investor in Elon Musk's Tesla. This is the money that was funneled into your campaign. What does it say about our political climate that someone as smart and thoughtful and outspoken on this subject as you still had to take, not had to, but did take money? What does that say?
See, not had to, he said, not had to, but still took the over $14 million in PAC money. Now, she wanted to get rid of super PACs. Okay, then why'd you take the money from somebody? Her husband was on the board and executive when worked with Elon Musk. So Elon Musk is the devil. He's so wrong. They loved him at first. I loved his cars, his EVs, and Elon Musk was the best. He was an innovator. He was the climate guru, and he was going to save the planet. There was no until he buys Twitter because he was tired of free speech being censored. So he way overpaid for Twitter just to open it up for free speech. Thank you, Elon, for that. He did a great service for all American citizens. Now, you can't believe everything you see on X, but he does have disclaimers on there, just like Facebook does. But there's no censoring. So I can go on there and say that, I'm a Martian and, I just landed from Mars and whatever. And they're not going to take it down. But they're going to say, no, this guy is not a Martian, and no one's going to believe it anyway. But still, nothing's getting censored. So thank you, Elon, for buying that. But yet, Elizabeth Warren, she's against super PACs and not spending billions. Well, I think she even said, we shouldn't be spending a third of $1 billion for, to win a presidential campaign. So, okay, Trump spent a third of $1 billion, 330 million, something like that. It was. So, yeah, roughly about a third, 333 million. But Kamala Harris, who lost, spent over $1 billion, more money than she actually had. So why isn't she talking about that? If you have your opponent spending over $1 billion and you're being criticized for spending a third of that, or actually less than a third because you spent over, that's a problem. But yet, when Elizabeth Warren dropped out of the race over that $14 million, she gladly took that in as PAC money. No problem. Didn't have a problem with it whatsoever. But yet, she wants to get rid of them. She still stands by it today. She stood by it then when she took the money, and now she still stands by it today that she wants to get rid of super PACs and not spend all this money on campaigns. Then give the $14 million back. You're a hypocrite. Tired of it. Tired of hearing your hypocrisy over and over and over again. Oh God, people! I hope everyone just sees through this, and just it's painful to watch that entire podcast, but I had to go through it and go through all the hypocrisy and all the stuff that she says, and I just had to do it. I had to do it, but it got some good clips out of it, and you just see the bullshit that comes out of their mouth and how they're not sincere with anything, and they don't have policies. They have nothing to stand on. They're dying on the hill with this guy, Abreu Garcia. You have Governor Switzer. I forget his name. The big fat dude. He can't even climb up the hill to die on it, but he's dying at the bottom of the hill on the men and women's sports subject, and plus the illegal immigrant. Abreu Garcia. I'm tired of even saying his name, but they're still sticking with it. They're still going over there like he's got to come back. He's got to come back. Oh, the veritable father. If you just want to keep doing it, keep doing it. I don't understand it. You want judges they're being arrested by the FBI for letting people helping people escape from ICE. The other couple, the husband and the wife, they were harboring them in their house. And apparently, that pictures on the immigrant's cell phone of him holding the immigrants. I think it was like an AR-15 style rifle or something like that. I heard, but if I can bring them up in the next episode, I will, because this was breaking news that I found out today, but right before I came in the studio. But this is what they're doing. Just keep doubling down on stupid policies. One of the number one things that I think really, really, there was a lot of things Trump did during his campaign that won the voters over. But the very one that really killed Kamala Harris was the ad where she said she supported transgender surgery paid for by tax dollars, our tax dollars, for illegal immigrants that are in prison. So I go to work every day, obey the law, raise my family, productive member of society, pay my taxes like I'm supposed to, pay my bills, take care of my family. Yet my tax dollars are going to go to someone that shouldn't be in this country already committed a crime by crossing our borders illegally, then committed a crime in the United States to be jailed. And then when they're in jail, they decide, I'm not a man anymore, I'm a woman. I need plastic surgery or whatever we want to call it, cut off my junk, and I want to be a woman and move me to a woman's prison. And I'm going to pay for it? You're out of your damn mind. And I think that ad that Trump aired right at the end was the last week. I think that really was the hammer in the call, the last nail in the coffin for Kamala Harris. They blew it out of proportion anyway. They're always saying how close the race was. They keep saying that over and over again because they want to get voters out. It wasn't close. As you see, it wasn't. Trump won every single swing state. won the popular vote, and they just keep again, lies by the media. It's so close. It's neck and neck. It's neck and neck. No, it wasn't. They're saying it's neck and neck because they don't want people to stay home and not vote, thinking there's no way she's going to win. So they keep lying about it, just to get voters out there. And they lost anyway. So, but people they're catching up to your lies. So, and I want to play one more clip in this segment, and it's S1V5, and I'm going to play it right now. So I'm going to say the Academy Award goes to
the Democratic Party. When we look back on this time, do you ever worry that the Democratic Party will be seen as being on the right side of history without having made much of it?
I worry every day that we know what is right, that we fight with good hearts, and that it might not be enough. All I've got is my heart and my 24 hours a day, and as many people as I can bring into this. In a democracy, it's not just one person. It's all of us. We got to fight for this. And we got to fight. We got to fight for ourselves. We got to fight for our families. We've got to fight for the people who are going to lose so much if we don't beat this back.
And there you go. There you go. Academy Award. Where's the music? Play the music. Give her her award. Good stuff. Great stuff there by Elizabeth Warren. Now, like anyone believes you with your crying act about, it's me. I'm trying to just get people for the fight. Oh my God. Like, oh, get out. Retire. You're over it. No one effing believes you. I mean, at least I don't. And I hope the people watching this don't either. But it was a joke. I mean, that was, I will give her, the acting was good. She almost seemed sincere. Like if I actually liked her and I believed half the stuff she said, I might think maybe she's serious in this moment. But no, she wasn't. So that's Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, as Trump calls her. It's always funny when he does. But yeah, exactly. That was just a horrible. No, it was a great interview. I'm sorry by the guy that interviewed her because he asked hard questions, but just the answers were horrible, and you could just tell it was just all bullshit. It was all bullshit. Or as Biden would say, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Now he goes from his whispering to his loud, weird stuff. But all right. So before we go on to the next segment with AOC, that's going to be a funny one. We're going to play some clips, but I want to go into Bone Deep Blues. Bone Deep Blues. This is about a former Navy SEAL, JD Big Dog Walker, now enjoying a quiet life as a blues musician and nightclub owner, learns that his brother and his fiancée have been kidnapped. Believing that the police cannot help, he calls upon some old friends and together find themselves immersed in the world of human trafficking, sex workers, and organized crime. Can he save his brother before he's killed, his fiancée before she is sold, and save his business while staying one step ahead of the mob and the police? Now, this is written by Brian R. O'Callahan. It's called Bone Deep Blues. It is a very good book. It's a thriller. There's some twists in it, and it has a little bit of comedy in it, very little, but it keeps you on the edge the whole time. And Brian here is from New Jersey, and he's used to be a police detective. So he uses his background for it and his love for blues music, and kind of intertwines all that into the book with the human trafficking and there's some with the fiction, but it's action-packed kind of story. He's writing another book, and you can get this book on the bigdogmedia.com or amazon.com. So all New Jersey people, go out there, let's support our Jersey guy, because it really is a great book, and the next one's coming out soon. But again, you do not have to live in New Jersey to buy the book. It's on amazon.com and the bigdogmedia.com. He is very good. I mean, it is a very good book, and I must say, it's the first book I've read since high school, to be honest with you. I wait for the movies to come out, but I can't wait for a movie to come out on this one. And by the way, it's got a 4.8 out of 5-star rating. So Bone Deep Blues, everybody. So let's roll into the next segment.
Fighters take the stand from shore to shore. We reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every
All right, now we already talked about AOC in the monologue. Now, AOC, I'm going to play some clips of her, and just this is called AO can't see, because I don't think there's anything that she can see clearly when she's asked a question about something that she doesn't know about. I mean, she'll fake it till she falls apart, and then she'll fall apart and say, well, I'm not an expert at this. Or she'll just say something so outlandish. You're like, what did you just say? Or you ask her a direct question, and she just gives you an answer that has nothing to do with the question you asked because she can't answer it. And I'm sorry. I mean, there's some people who don't have it. You know, like I'll never be an NBA basketball player. You know, it'll never happen. It's just not me. I can't do it. I'm too short. Can't dunk. Not that fast. Not that athletic. Other than playing hockey, I was. But still, never be that. So her being a congresswoman, I don't know how. Again, looks, popularity got her into Congress. I mean, she even 25,000 jobs she killed in New York. And she was so happy about it when Amazon was going to set up there. She's like, oh, we can use that money to rebuild our trains and platforms and keep our subways safe. Well, what happened after that? I believe there was been so many people pushing in front of subways and nothing safe happened after that. And that was a couple of years ago. I mean, they could have created 25,000 jobs for New Yorkers. And she was so proud that she shut it down. I mean, what an idiot. I mean, she has no idea about the economy, no idea about how anything works. And so let's start off with S2V1 with the AOC videos. Let's roll that one first.
January 3rd, January 4th, we're signing healthcare, we're signing this, we're decarcerating our society.
So she would love to be inaugurated if she wins her congressional race here in New York, but they don't actually inaugurate Congress people.
She hopes to be inaugurated. Yes, the president's the only one out of 3 branches of government that gets inaugurated. And then she went on to say that she was going to get inaugurated on the 3rd and then start signing bills on the 4th. And so people are being critical of her, saying she doesn't understand government. You don't get inaugurated and you don't sign bills. Only the president will sign the bills that you present to him.
Well, she's got her view of how things.
All right, so right there, this I think is the first election that she won, become congresswoman, and she was saying that when she gets inaugurated, you know, she's going to start signing all these bills in the law, whatever she said, June 3rd, June 4th, and you know, yeah, when I get inauguration day, I want to sign all these bills in the law. Now, right then and there, it's like, no. Sorry, only one person gets inaugurated, and that's the president of the United States. They don't inaugurate Congress, and you do not get to sign bills. You get to introduce bills, and they go through Congress and Senate, and then if they go through that, then they can land on the president's desk, and then he either signs them or vetoes them. So that's how it works. AOC, I mean, you would think at least you would do a little bit of homework. I mean, just a little bit, you know, before you run for Congress. I mean, I'll admit, when I ran for Congress, it was kind of on a whim. I got challenged to do that, and I did. I took a shot, but at least I knew a little bit of it, and I learned as I went. I'm not going to say that I knew 100% of everything, but I did my homework. I knew what it was about. I knew the things that I could do and bills that I wanted to introduce if I were to win. I knew I wasn't going to get inaugurated. I was looking to just win the election. I knew that there was not going to be an inauguration party for me. I knew I wasn't going to get in there and just sign a bill and say, "Oh, here it goes." You know, and Congressional District 1, I'm in. I just signed a bill. You're good. President doesn't have to see it. You know, I'm the only branch in New Jersey that matters. Here you go. Boom, done. So again, she's a moron, and she's her best hope. So sorry, AOC, but you're stupid. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You know, I'm not the brightest box out there either, but I'll tell you what. I mean. When it comes to a butter knife and a spoon, you're the spoon. I'll tell you that, because I don't understand how she keeps getting elected. But hey, she's doing something right, I guess, on Instagram and TikTok and all that. And I guess, like I said too, I mean, a lot of people, she's attractive, and attractive people tend to have people gravitate towards them. And I guess she can be funny, and she does her silly little keep up with the Kardashians type stuff on TikTok and Instagram, and putting her makeup and talking about different things, and I guess some younger women like that, some younger guys like that, and that's how she gets in. I don't know. I'm still. I mean, if any of you guys really know how she keeps getting in, there's something I'm missing. Please, go on our website, America's Pulse Network, and throw it in the chat or something. Tell me about it, because I'm curious. Like, she doesn't even know the branch. We'll get to it. She doesn't even know the branches of government. It's the legislative, executive, and judicial. And you'll see that in another clip that's coming up. But yeah, AOC, man. So let's start rolling these clips. Let's go to S2.
When even Jake Tapper from CNN can poke holes in your platform.
The overall price tag is more than $40 trillion in the next decade. You recently said in an interview that increasing taxes on the very wealthy plus an increased corporate tax rate would make $2 trillion over the next 10 years. So where's the other $38 trillion going to come from?
Well, one of the things that we need to realize when we look at something like Medicare for All would save the American people. These are generational investments, so that they're not short-term band-aids, but they are really profound decisions about who we want to be as a nation and how we want to act as the wealthiest nation in the history of the world.
Right, no, I get that, but the price tag for everything that you've laid out in your campaign is $40 trillion over the next 10 years. But I'm talking about the overall package. You say it's not pie in the sky, but $40 trillion is quite a bit of money, and the taxes that you talked about raising to pay for this, to pay for your agenda, only count for $2. And we're going by left-leaning analysts.
Right. Well, when you look again at how our healthcare works, currently we pay much of these costs go into the private sector. So if you look at my generation, millennials, the amount of economic activity that we do not engage in, the fact that we delay purchasing homes, that we don't participate in the economy and purchasing cars, etc., as fully as possible, is a cost. It is an externality, if you will, of unprecedented amounts of student loan debt.
I'm assuming I'm not going to get an answer for the other $38 trillion.
All right, so $40 trillion she's going to save in 10 years. $40 trillion. Now she got close. She had $2 trillion with her policies that she was going to enact with raising taxes and everything else, and yet she couldn't answer the question. Where's the other $38 trillion? Where's it coming from? And well, it's coming, with Medicare for all. Okay. What's that mean, Medicare for all? Because a lot of it goes into the private sector, health insurance. So, okay, so you're going to increase taxes and give everybody free health insurance and take away from the private insurance companies. So, all right, so where's that money going? Money I don't understand. I don't understand how you're going to save another $38 trillion for that. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And again, like anything you say doesn't make any sense. But even that was what, CNN? Jake Tapper. I mean, that's the most friendliest place for a lefty to go and sit down with. But he answered a simple question: what about the other $38 trillion? And then she goes into, well, the younger generation, we don't spend money, buy houses, and we don't make enough money to do that and to pump money into the economy. Okay, well, how does that pay off your debt? I don't understand. Like, what are you talking about? Raising the minimum wage so businesses can go out of business because small businesses can't afford to pay $20 an hour to an employee, so they go out of business. All right, so where's tax money coming in there? So if you buy a house, if you had enough money to go buy a house or buy a car, and you pay sales tax on it, or property taxes, maybe that's where it's going to come from. 38 trillion. I don't think it adds up. I mean, Jake Tapper didn't think so either, and he even ended. Well, I guess I'm not going to get my answer because you're not going to get the answer from her because she doesn't have it. She doesn't have the answer. So, I almost hope that they do try to run her in 2028, but I have a little bit of fear in me, just a little bit, that there's enough people out there that hate Trump so much that when Vance goes to run, they're just going to go with AOC because she's the TikTok popularity and got old ass Bernie Sanders behind her talking about socialism and everything else, and but yet they take private jets that cost like $15,000 an hour on the jet to go to these rallies. People are showing up at them. I'll give them that. They are showing up. And they just say the same thing over and over again. Tax the rich. Bernie, you got like 5 houses. You're rich as can be. AOC, you make 177 grand a year. You've been in for 8 years, I think, something like that. And you're worth over 20 million. Where'd that money come from? Tax the rich. You know, you're flying a private jet to private jet, here to here to here to here to here for your rallies, just blowing money like crazy. I could imagine. They probably spend about $1 million easy on their rallies going to them, getting, well, probably more than that, getting everything set up, security. I mean, just the flights alone, you know, probably close to, you know, $500,000, but to go into these places. And they, and got to keep it green, Green New Deal. You know, can't hurt the environment, can't have, you know, all the jet engine fuel going up in the atmosphere, you know, your carbon footprint that you have. Well, your carbon footprint, you got you and old smelly Bernie on the private jet flying to every other state in the country. And yeah, I think your carbon footprint's pretty big for the two of you. Then you go in front of a crowd and you tell them that we have to save the environment. Turn that jet off. Don't let it run. Shouldn't run while we're here. So turn the engines off. We're going to save the environment a little bit, you know. And then we have to tax the rich. Well, we're rich, but not us. Just the super rich who pay the top, you know, 1% of the wealthiest people pay 60% of the federal income tax. By the way, so 1% of Americans pay 60% of federal income tax. Just so you know, you can look it up. I am Jersey Shore on that. So the other 40% pay, you know, pay less. So, and no, I'm sorry, the other 99% pay 40%. The other 99% pay 40% federal income tax. So I think they do pay enough already. And, you know, when I know you hate capitalism and you rather see socialism, which doesn't work, hasn't worked anywhere. That's why our country is the greatest country, the most thriving country in the world. But it doesn't work. And you go out there and promote it as much as possible, but you are the antithesis of it. I mean, so what if capitalism works? I mean, people take a risk. You know, I said this before, and I'll say it again. If I want to start off a business, then I take a risk. If I have the money to do it, say I want to start a factory making things, whatever it may be. I have to either buy or rent a facility, and most likely take a loan out to do so, because I wouldn't have the money to put up for myself. Then I would have to take the loan out big enough to make that factory, to whatever equipment's needed to make whatever product I want to make. I have to hire the people. I have to give them health coverage. I have to have them safety trained, go through training, pay for all that. And I have to be productive and make sure that I promote my product and it's a good product. So I have to be great on the sales and I have to be great with the production to meet demands and everything like that. So it's a big risk. So the employees that I hire, you know, they're not taking a risk. They get paid. Your paycheck comes in every week. And I told my boss a while ago, he didn't find it that funny, even though I was joking. So I build commercial buildings, you know, anywhere from 50 to 200 million dollar buildings. So, you know, my boss said, you know, we can't lose money on this job. And I really haven't actually lost any company I worked for money on the job. We've always been lucky enough that we've made money on all of them. So that's why I'm still employed. But you know, I did tell him, I said, what are you talking about? I never lost money on any job that I ran. He said, oh, don't get ahead of yourself. I said, no, my paycheck comes every week. And he just gave me a look, you know, sarcastic look, because, yeah, my paycheck comes every week, whether the job is losing money or not. So it was a joke. He knew it was. But it's the same thing. That's my point. You know, their paycheck comes in every week. The person that takes a risk by opening that company, that goes under, then that's it. They're wiped out. They owe all this money to the bank, file bankruptcy. All the employees, they have to lay them off, unfortunately. But what do? They go find another job somewhere else. That guy or girl that started that job, start that company, either they thrive and they take that risk and they become rich from it, but they contribute and employ a lot of people. If you employ a lot of people, there's a lot of people paying taxes. It gets the economy roaring. So you do have to have, you know, like a hierarchy of people that run companies, that are the CEOs or whatever you want to call them, or the owner, and then going down and it trickles down to all of the workers. And that's how a company runs. But if it goes under, then the one at the top is the one that takes the hit. You know, if you want to take the risk, you get the rewards. If you want to take the risk, you also take the risk of not getting any rewards and going under. So that's how it works, AOC. That's how capitalism is. And that's, just so you know, that's economics 101 for you. right? Yeah, even though I think you have an economic degree, I don't know how you got that one and where it came from. What I forget what college it came from. It doesn't really matter. But the college that you came from, I would think we should investigate them a little bit and see what kind of teaching they are. Maybe they pass you through because you didn't play any sports or anything like that I know of. Maybe you bartended for your college professors. Maybe that was it. That may have been it. Free drinks for the college. There we go. Damon, my producer. I think I found it. I think free drinks at the bar when she was bartending for her college professors. So they will come in, free drinks. There you go. There you go. Even give you a C, one here and there. AOC, maybe that's where it came from, but we're going to pass you along. Thank you for my margarita, and don't worry about that test tomorrow. You're going to pass. So there we go. I think I just found the secret. All right, so let's roll another clip by AOC. I think we were on S2V2, was it? Or 3. We're on 3 now.
The economy is going pretty strong,
likely.
right? There's roughly 4% unemployment, 3.9% unemployment. Do you think that capitalism has failed to deliver for working class Americans, or is no longer the best vehicle for working class Americans?
Well, I think the numbers that you just talked about is part of the problem, right? Because we look at these figures and we say, oh, unemployment is low, everything is fine, right? Well, unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs. Unemployment is low because people are working 60, 70, 80 hours a week and can barely feed their kids.
So she gives 2 reasons for why the unemployment rate is so low. Number 1,
unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs.
And number 2,
unemployment is low because people are working 60, 70, 80 hours a week.
Both of these reasons prove that she has no idea what she's talking about. Let's address her first statement. The unemployment rate is calculated by dividing the amount of unemployed over the amount of people in the labor force. This means a worker is only accounted for once, so holding multiple jobs doesn't affect the unemployment rate at all. Now to address her second statement. The unemployment rate measures how many people are unemployed. It has nothing to do with how many hours someone works during the week, which has been constant since the last decade at around 34 hours per week, not 60 to 80. So it might be time for her to go back to school and take a first-year economics class.
So there you go again. Another economics by AOC right there. They were talking about a very good economy, a good unemployment rate at that point, but I think she said it was somewhere around like 3%. 3% is very, very good. And AOC goes on to say, well, I'll repeat it anyway, about unemployment. Well, the reason why we have those numbers is because people are working, 2 jobs and they still can't put food on their table. What? What do you mean? Oh, okay. It means, but they're working. So that has nothing to do with the unemployment rate. I mean, it's simple division, as the gentleman put it in the clip. Then the second reason is that people were working 60 to 80 hours a week. Okay, well, it doesn't matter what they're working, even though he said the average is 34, which I didn't know. I mean, I work 40 to 48 if I work a Saturday, but I would think the average is 40, but 30 to 34, I guess so. But even if they're working that many hours, they're employed. Even if they have 7 jobs, they're employed. So they're not on the unemployment list. It's very simple. That's it. You can't put it any easier than that. These people are employed. These people under here are not employed. You divide that, you come out with the percentage of the unemployment line. So are the people that are not employed. Doesn't matter how many jobs they have or how many hours they work. Again, you're an idiot. Sorry, you're stupid. But I can't. I'm sorry. So all right, let's keep going down these ones. Let's throw
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be hopping on here, Senator Sanders' account, and we're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're gonna flip this seat red in November.
No, Alexandria, you want to flip the seat blue. Or maybe she's thinking of the red for this party. She also doesn't know some more important stuff, like what the 3 branches of government are.
Is that should we, and if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
So all three branches of government, Congress, the Senate. Okay. All right. And we're gonna flip this. I forget what she said, county or whoever it was that she was promoting. We're gonna flip it red. All right. All right. I'm sure he was happy about that. We're gonna flip it red. Sorry, I don't want to spit this out of my mouth. But we're gonna flip it red. Great. All right, let's flip it red when you run for president too. That'd be awesome. It'd be really good. And then your three branches of government, by the way, I'll just let you know, it's your legislative, executive, and judicial. Okay, that's what your three branches of government are. And that's I think my son knows that now, and he's 6. So again, stellar, great moves on your part. Put her on camera more. I would, like I said, I would love to interview her. And I'm not the sharpest interviewer. I wouldn't even have to ask you gotcha questions. I mean, I could say, how many states are in this country, and I could imagine what her answer would be. I don't even want to guess what it possibly could be, because I guarantee it. It would be like 52. She'd be thinking of a deck of cards or something like that, and she would say, "Oh, there's 52." So, but that's AOC for you. So let's keep on rolling. Let's roll S2V6.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I think what I meant is like the settlements that are increasing. And
Do you think you can expand on that?
I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue.
Clearly, she is an idiot. She has no idea what she's talking about. It is profoundly obvious. The fact that this woman is in Congress, she doesn't know what she's talking about. An occupation, she has no idea what the land is like, or settlements, or anything else. Like, the woman is a complete and utter buffoon.
So right there. All right. Well, at least I'm not the only one. At least I am not the only one saying it. So there you go. I don't feel as bad. Yeah, she is a complete and utter buffoon. She has no idea what she's talking about. She tries to say something to make herself look smart. And then when she gets a follow-up, well, can you elaborate on that? And then she's like, oh, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not an expert at this. And then shut up. All right. If you're not an expert, then shut up. Stop acting like you know what you're talking about. Why don't you go home, hit the books, do some studying, stay off of TikTok and Instagram. Maybe you could be a productive congresswoman. I think after on the next show, I gotta remember this. So DW, make sure you remind me after the show. I want to write down any of her accomplishments in Congress, any bill that she was a part of that actually got passed, or anything that she came up with. I mean, I don't think that off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that she sponsored herself and got other congressmen and women to go with it, to push it through the House. I don't think she had anything that she came up with. I mean, yes, did she vote with other Democrats on bills that they proposed? Yes, of course. But I want to look it up. I want to see if she actually had any herself, other than killing 25,000 jobs in New York and blocking Amazon from setting up there. And she doesn't even understand either that it's that if Amazon, it would have created $25,000 jobs, and Amazon being there, that would subsidize a lot of people's taxes. I mean, I know like Atlantic City, I don't know if it's still the same, like the casinos being down there and bringing in all that revenue, that subsidized a lot of people's taxes. Some places where you had big pharmaceutical companies like DuPont and Chemours, and they were huge. It was like their main area. And because of the money that was bringing in, and they had the land they had, people had lower property taxes around there. And because their taxes were subsidies for it, because they created so much money. So kudos to you for killing Amazon from going to New York. It was the dumbest thing. Well, I'm not going to say dumbest thing you've ever done or said, because I don't know if I can go down that deep of a rabbit hole to find out what it might be. Well, I may never come back. I mean, I'm losing brain cells as it is playing these clips. But again, if you're not an expert on something, shut up. All right. You're not an expert on anything so far that I can see. But the fact that they're talking about her possibly running for president, oh God, if I was an enemy of this country, I would put everything I have into her. Imagine her lead. I mean, I can't say worse than Kamala Harris. I don't know, man. That's up for you guys to decide. who will be worse. If Kamala Harris were president, I couldn't imagine. I mean, Joe Biden, for one, we knew he was dead. He'd wake up at noon, get his makeup on, get ready, and then fall asleep and miss his meeting. Spend most of the time on the beach. I think he spent over a year of his 4 years in office on vacation. Over a year. It would the amount of vacations that he took was like 367, something like that. It was somewhere around there. It would take the average American 40 years to take that many vacation days that Joe Biden took. Now, if Kamala was in, she might be at AOC's bar all the time, and throwing them back. Kamala, you can tell where's Kamala? I don't know. I just saw her leave the bar, stumble from the bar. I don't know where she's at. So we all saw her get up there and speak when she was all sauced up. You can't say that she wasn't. So I don't know who will be worse. That's up to you to decide who will be worse. But if I was another government that did not like the United States was an enemy, I will be pushing for AOC, because imagine getting over on her. Oh my God. I mean, Biden was an easy one. I mean, he went to Putin with a list of 16 things, telling Putin, he came out of after he talked with Putin. I went in there and I had this list. There's 16 things of infrastructure. I told him he's not allowed to touch because of the damage it will do to the United States. Okay, so give him everything that'll hurt the United States that he can't touch. All right. I mean, Putin already knows, but the fact that a duttered old shell of a president goes in there and tells him, the 16 infrastructures that he cannot touch that will really cripple the United States. I mean, he probably already knew, but coming out and bragging that you told him about it, that'd be something like AOC would do. I mean, again. All right, let's keep going. I won't keep you entertained with these clips, and I hope you're enjoying them, because they are funny. But I just make sure you what they used to give you in school before you take, they used to be called the cat tests. I remember in grades, they would give you a celery stick with peanut butter with raisins on top of it. It's like brain food. That's what they said. So if that's true, maybe after the show, you want to eat one of those, because I know we're dumbing it down with these clips. All right, so let's roll. I think we're in STV6. So let's roll the next clip of AOC.
Of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father from his
Mr. Holman,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
All right. So for back on, I believe what Pete is on. I'm guessing he's home from work. Oh, there he is getting set up. So
sorry, guys. I was all ready. Got jacked up.
Up there, buddy. So we'll give you a second while you're setting up. But if you're listening right now, you're kind of frozen in the background. So hopefully it gets set up and you're close to Wi-Fi. But
working on it.
There he is. Whoa, what are you?
How's that?
Thanks.
Hey, man, listen. When I was trying to get on the stream with you here, but it was very low, so I had to get something to make sure I was there. So yes, I'm tapped in over here.
Well, I don't know. Did you catch how many clips did you catch of AOC?
I've been catching some, but I'll tell you what, when they go on, I feel like it's a little low. So maybe D-Dub needs to work that a little bit. But I've seen her, man. Look, she's talking a lot of great things over there. She's very smart, that one.
So, but yeah. So I've got a couple clips. I think we're going to be rolling the S2V7 after this, and this is the 7th clip of her. And you could probably be thankful that you missed the earlier ones, because you would have lost some brain cells. So that's
she does that to people.
Yeah, and she's the great Democratic hope.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, they want to put her up. That'd be lovely.
Yeah. All right, so let's get through this and let's roll
to give away $3
S2V7.
billion for this deal. We could invest those $3 billion in our district ourselves if we wanted to. We could hire out more teachers. We can fix our subways. We can put a lot of people to work for that money if we wanted to. There was no guarantee that those jobs were for the New Yorkers that were here. We were looking at a deal that was not primarily putting the community first. Okay, so let's say I'm a really, really bad guy. And let's say I have some skeletons in my closet that I need to cover up so that I can get elected. Mr. Smith, is it true that you wrote this article, this opinion piece for the Washington Post entitled, "These payments to women were unseemly, that doesn't mean they were illegal"?
Well, I can't see the piece, but I wrote a piece under that headline in the Post, so I assume that's right.
Okay, great. So, green light for hush money. I can do all sorts of terrible things. It's totally legal right now for me to pay people off. And that is considered speech. That money is considered speech. And while there's all of this debate about whether a citizenship question should be included or not included, the question I have is, why are we violating the law to include any question whatsoever in the 2020 census? So my question is, why are we violating the law to include this question in the 2020?
Point of order. There's been no enunciation of what that statute is. I don't even know what she's talking about.
So what he's talking about at all. What she's talking about. I mean, the number one in the beginning, that was her turning down the Amazon for coming to New York. That was going to create 25,000 jobs. And she said, how are they going to guarantee them for New Yorkers? And it said, well, who the hell are they going to be for? And I was talking about it earlier, how a company the size of Amazon, that would help subsidize a lot of taxes for people that live there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what we keep talking about with, Delaware losing those corporations, right? The headquarters moving out, is that they're losing a lot of that tax money down there, and that's something that they absolutely, it takes the burden. Oh man, I'm having issues over here, guys. They takes the burden off of the taxpayer.
Yeah, it does. You were talking about that before in Delaware. So I was in Atlantic City earlier. The casinos used to subsidize a lot of the taxes for the people that live there because of the income they had. So that would have been the same with Amazon going there, on top of it creating 25,000 jobs. So
not to mention the tax benefits.
Yeah, exactly. So you missed the one where she talked about unemployment. I'll have to play that for you after the show. And so she got it completely wrong. I don't even want to get into it. I don't want to kill the listeners over and over again with it.
That's fair.
So
I got questions, but she has a lot of questions, apparently. I mean, all about the same questions. I don't know. I don't understand, but that's all right.
Yeah. And in the end there, when she went after Trump about the hush money, saying, well, if it's illegal, well, no, it's not illegal. Hush money happens to be a legal thing to do if they signed the contract. But unfortunately, she broke the contract. And that's why the whole thing with Stormy Daniels came about. It is legal to do so. You can pay somebody to not say anything and sign a NDA. I'm sorry, non-disclosure agreement. So but to roll through this segment, I want to roll through this last clip, and the next segment we're going to talk about the governor's race. It's called Jersey Tomatoes. That's the third segment on here. But let's roll S2V8, the last clip with the great AOC.
Did you see that conversation that AOC had with that man they brought in for the Biden case? And they were talking about what crimes. She was like grilling this guy. What crimes did you see Joe Biden? Did he steal anything? Did he steal bread?
Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO and conspiracy.
What is it? What is the crime, sir?
Like, I forgot what she said, and he was trying to explain what they were. RICO crimes, and she was saying RICO is not a crime. I saw it's a category of crime. Like, okay, all right.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. RICO is not a crime. It is a category.
But it's just so dumb to say that publicly, and say it with confidence.
So RICO is not a crime. It is a category.
I love how her eyes bugged out there at the end.
Yeah. So that's AOC. I can't keep it in your butt. I keep taking it out. But yeah, she never ceases to amaze me. How do you think it would a conversation between you and her would go?
Well, I don't even know, man. I don't want to speculate on that. I don't want to try to get into it. All right. It probably wouldn't be very pretty. You know, I'd try to bring her to the water, but she can't make the horse drink. I mean, what are you going to do?
She's probably fun to hang out with. I mean,
yeah. Well, she was a bartender. She's got to be, right?
Oh, yeah. You weren't on yet when I figured it out. How she got, she has an economics degree. And I figured out how she got through college. See, she bartended her way through college. So her college professors probably attended that bar and they got free drinks.
It makes sense to me.
That's how she got the grades. I think I cracked the case.
I wonder if she paid taxes on her tips.
I don't know about that. We'll see. But I don't know if it ever comes out. If we ever find out, we do any digging, any PI out there, if they want to find out she was giving college professors free drinks, you come, let me know, hit me up, email me, go on our website, America's Pulse Network, and throw something in there and let me know that you found out that's how she got through. And I'll say I'm said it here on the Jersey Shore, but I am not SURE about it, but I have a good feeling. What do you think?
I mean, look, I like it, brother. If it turns out that's the case, then we're on to something.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to move on to our next segment right now called the Jersey Tomatoes.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with Alexandra Levine Live on the America's Pulse Network. You are all in with Alexandra Levine. We are still waiting for someone from the White House to come out and tell us what transpired between President Trump and Vladimir Putin on that call today. We are here live at the White House. We're waiting for White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to come out and tell us about the updates of today, the call between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, what transpired in that call.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Generation fighters take the stand. From shore to shore we reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore we make our stand.
All right, Pete. So I'm going to give you a quick recap on the segments. The first segment, I did name it. The title was TDS versus BDS. It's Trump derangement syndrome versus Biden decline syndrome. So I just went through how the Democratic Party killed themselves by hiding Biden and his mental decline, and that's why they're at where they are now, and looking at AOC for next president. And we went through Elizabeth Warren, that podcast that she did. And I don't know if you've seen the whole thing, but definitely saw the part where he asked her about Biden's decline. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it. Man, look, I was at work all day today, so I didn't get a chance to see much of nothing. But I did happen to see a piece of it as I was driving home. I had John coming through the car. So I did see her crying act. I caught a glimpse of that. Yeah, the Academy Award. But I mean, they're all about that. Look, they keep getting on the wrong side of these issues, right? These 80-20s or whatever. And, you keep seeing these people double down. Oh, we have to save our families. We have to, from what, man? Like, if you continue that way, we're going to be China Jr.
Yeah, I know. Our producer, before we start talking about the gubernatorial race, do you think we could roll the S1V1 clip one more time with Liz Warren? Talking about when he asked about how sharp Biden was. Did you notice his mental decline? Was Biden as sharp as you? And she almost laughed when she got asked the question. And you see how she dances around with it. So if we're able to play that clip again, S1V1, so Pete can see it. Is that a yes or
Do
no?
you regret saying that President Biden
That's
had
all right. Well, look,
a
okay.
mental acuity? He had a
Oh, yeah.
sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that. You know, the thing is, he was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That was good.
Oh, there was a lot of them before that too. But that one, where she almost laughed when he asked if he was as sharp as her.
Mm-hmm. Well, Lindy Lee came out and she did a bunch of podcasts too. Lindy Lee, she was the Democrat in charge of the Democrat party out there, right? Like the DNC or whatever. And she said a lot of the same things about Biden. You know, they kept saying, "Oh, he's so sharp." It's like, no, we saw him. He wasn't sharp. They were trying to keep him away from us, you know, keep him locked up. You know, I don't know how they believe that though, man. You just watch the decline of that poor guy.
Yeah, I know. And I said the sad thing is, you know, he actually peaked and declined. Like AOC peaked at a decline. So she can't even get past the decline. So that's what that's what they have over there, Democrats. So keep it up.
Well, and then they're losing their head guys, right? They said, "Oh, if you don't leave, we're going to go ahead and start primarying you." So we just saw one of the heads of the Democratic Party. He resigned, right? I'm not sure what his name is.
Durbin?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing them fall apart right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, and you have the vice chair of the DNC, who was basically a nobody. He became popular because he was part of a school shooting. He was there in the school when the shooter came. He survived and he talked about it. That's how he became popular against gun rights. And they elected him to be the vice chair of DNC. And now he comes out and he's trying to dictate how the Democratic Party is going to run and push out the old candidates and get new ones in there. Now, that's not his job. He should be fired, but they're not going to do that. So who knows?
I'll tell you, though, he's not wrong in what it is that he's saying if you want to try to save the Democratic Party. But I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure I heard that man like left and then came back to that school shoot. I mean, he's living on a lie. You know, no, I'm not 100%. I'm not Jersey Shore on that, but I'm pretty sure I heard something similar to that vein.
Yeah, I heard the same. So,
okay.
So what do you think about the governor's race coming up?
Well, I mean, you know, look, we got a lot of candidates out there. You know, Jack has been there for a long time. He's back in it again. You got Bill Spadia coming out of nowhere, and you know, he's making moves. And then you got some other guys. Oh my God, the guy up in North Jersey, the senator. I can't remember what his name is.
Bramnick.
Yeah, Bramnick. And then is Justin Barbera still in it?
He's still in it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the last polls that I saw, and I was kind of surprised at them, but you don't trust the polls. We learned that with Trump and everything else. But it said that Jack is somewhere around 40%, and then Spadia is around 13%. And then I think you have Bramnick at 4% and Barbera at 3%. So there's 40% of people that are on the fence that don't know who they're voting for. So it's still wide open.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And plus the polls could be off a little bit. I mean, I really think Spadia has a chance. I mean, personally, I would like to see Spadia win.
The Camden County GOP has backed Spadia.
Yeah, I know you guys are.
Yeah.
Gloucester County didn't. They're going with Jack. But that's how it works. In different counties that back different ones. So, I mean, either one, whoever wins, obviously I'm voting for them in the general. But I like Spady. I like the way he talks. I like his policies. He's direct. He doesn't attack anybody. He just talks about what he's going to do as governor. The other ones, what I see is talking about how bad the other candidate is, and that's something I can't stand. Now, it works sometimes. If somebody is a bad candidate, then they failed at this or they lied about this. Yeah, you could point that out, but that can't be your whole spiel. You have to tell me what you're going to do. What are your policies? How are you going to make them work? It's like, you're running for assembly in LD6, Camden County. You and Jack Brangan, your running mate.
Yep.
It's like you going out there and talking about Lou Greenwald and just saying, "Oh, he's the worst. He said this. He's not going to do what he said he's going to do, and he failed at this, and he lied about this." And then someone said, "Well, what are your policies?" And you said, "Well, I want to lower taxes." And they said, "Well, how are you going to do that?" Because we're just going to lower taxes. But
that's exactly what we're going to do, brother. We're just going to lower them. It's just we're going to wave the wand. They're going down. Well, look, there's two ways. There's two ways to go about this, right? Is number one, you either try to pump yourself up and sell yourself to the people, or number two, you go ahead and try to throw shade and disgrace your opponent, so to speak. So and I mean personally, it's a little bit of both. It's not so much trying to put down your opponent, but definitely draw attention to what it is that they've been doing, what their record is, how it is that you see them. But at the same time, the strongest thing you could do is pump your own message up, and Vivek Ramaswamy, one of my favorite guys out there right now, keeps saying, look, America has been running away from things. We need to give them something to run to, and I think that that's something that we absolutely need to do here in New Jersey is say, hey, look, man, they've been doing it this way for 30 years. We have the opportunity to change it, and this is how we're going to go about doing it. And maybe you should come over here and listen to what I have to say. And, the message will speak volume, and it'll go ahead and help bring people over to our side.
I agree 100%. I mean, you need political outsiders. And that's what Bill Spady is.
And that's why I like him as well.
Yeah, I think he may have ran for Congress 10 years ago or something like that. Maybe. I know he ran for something a long time ago. But he's been on the radio for a long time. He's conservative Republican. He's common sense. He's a family guy. He's married a long time. I see his wife with him at all the events. That speaks very high volume of a person that is committed. If you're there with your wife and married for 30 years or so and you're still together, I mean, anybody can play it off. I mean, look at Bill and Hillary. They were, Bill was off doing his thing, and who knows what Hillary was doing. She probably didn't even care. But they seem like a pretty good family, and having that commitment to family, you want someone to have that commitment to your constituents as governor, and I can see that. And when he talks about policies. He doesn't talk about anybody else, why they're a bad candidate. He just talks about why he's the better candidate and what he's going to do for New Jersey, and that's what I like about him.
No, yeah, agreed. I mean, I went down there and saw him in where was that? Woodbury, the Arsenal gun shop over there, and he was very, very good with what he said. He came right in and he just started talking. And some people have it, some people don't. And he definitely had it. So I'd like to see more about what he's gonna do and things like that. And I would absolutely like to see him get in there. And be the next governor. I mean, once we win assembly, me and Jack, we're going to have to work with somebody, whoever it is, and it would be very good if it was Spadia. I'd very much look forward to that.
Yeah. And Justin Barbera, he was on our show, interviewed him. Great guy. I think he will be the great governor. He jumped in the race. Like, he just kind of did what I did, but even further. He said, I'm just going to run for governor. But he got his signatures. He was out there, man. He was pounding the streets. He got his signatures. He's serious about it. He came on the podcast. I think he has very good policies that he want to enact. He just doesn't have the popularity yet. But this will get his name in the game for something else. I like Justin a lot. It's just that he doesn't have a chance to win. He doesn't have the platform that these guys have and the money that these guys have, and that's what you need. You need the platform and you need the money. But
well,
Justin,
and you also need to be a radio host. So, listen, I like that us radio hosts need to stick together. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at.
There you go. So yeah, Pete is my co-host on Jersey Shore Radio, and he's quite often, he frequents the podcast here. Him and Jack were on not last Friday it was. Yeah, and we did lose audio. We always seem to lose audio right when I ask you guys a question. What made you guys run? And then we lost audio. You're talking, you're quiet, and Jack goes, he's talking, and then we're past the section, and the audio pops back on, and nobody hears why you guys decided to run.
That's all right. Listen, it's going to be a surprise when we finally get it out there. We're going to hold on to it in our back pocket for now, until the time is right, and we're going to go ahead and let it come out.
Well, you go to votejackandpete.com, and you'll see their policies there. You just have to read them instead of hearing them. So for now,
that's all.
But yeah, man, I think it's going to be a really good race. I think it's going to be a lot tighter than they think between Spadea and Chiarelli. So I think the polls are skewed a little bit there. So I think it's going to be pretty tight. I know Jack is the favorite, so he may win. But you never know. You have 40 people that are undecided, 40%. So
well, Jack almost knocked off Murphy, right, when I had first moved back up here. Mm-hmm. So he's definitely been in the race, and that was his second time running, I believe.
Yes, it was.
And so he's already been in here a few times. People know his name, and name recognition is really what it's all about in this game. Is who's been there, who has the name that we recognize, and who we're going to go with. And so Bill, because he had his radio show, he does have a little bit of that name recognition as well. So I think that right there is really what they have over somebody like a Justin Barbera, who is maybe doesn't have as much of a following right now, or as many people are familiar with who he is.
Yeah, that's what I said about Justin. I think Justin would be great. I think he's a great guy. He's solid. Just doesn't have the platform or the money, but just getting his name out there with this is going to take him places for sure.
100%. Yeah.
So, well, we have a lot of good people running, with you and Jack, and you have Constance and what's her name?
Nilsa.
I'm sorry, Nilsa.
I just met Nilsa. I just met Nilsa the other day. She seemed like a really cool person. She's right out of Camden City, so I mean, I think that would be very good to have representation, especially on the Republican side, coming out of Camden City. I mean, that would be fantastic if we could get us all in there and form a little block, a little cohesion. We might actually be able to make some headway and really start to turn things around in a very short period of time.
I know the perfect guy that lives in Camden City that can rally up some troops. I mean, he works for PATCO, but he's really involved in politics. He's out there. He doesn't care. He's the type of guy that'll ride up down the street with a bullhorn talking about candidates and vote for this guy. He had one of my banners hanging from his house, and this is right in the heart of Camden. And we walked up and down the street, and he's introducing me to everybody. He knew everybody. He lived there his entire life. Yep. And I said, "This is Damon Galdo, our next congressman." Didn't happen, but
yeah.
But he knew everybody, so he would be a good guy to go to talk to for LD 5.
I think it's 5, yeah.
And also, yeah. But he knows a lot of people out there, and he's very outspoken. Okay. And he would love to help out.
Look, that's one of the communities that's one of the communities that still unfortunately vote heavily Democrat, right? So I mean, is if we can go ahead and swing some of them and pull some of the Black community over to the side, or the Spanish community that's out there, I mean, that would be fantastic. I would love to see that happen, because if you can start to pull some, they can help start to pull others, and that's how we make inways.
Yeah, you're right about that. And the thing is, you would think it'd be easier as long as you can get them the message. And you just say, they've been trying to build up Camden for like 50 years and failing over and over again. It's been under the Norcross rule for a long time. Indictments rolling out over them, and I think they're going to get indicted again, so I hear. So that's another congressman indicted for the third time. So Teflon Don, they're calling him. So Walter's brother is the one. The two brothers are one getting indicted. I don't know how he doesn't, but he's part of the deals that they get indicted for. So I don't know how he skates away from it. But I don't know enough about it. but it looks like corruption to me. But yeah, but to talk to the people that typically vote Democrat, or maybe they don't vote at all, you just say, you lived here for how long? You say they lived there 20 years. Has anything changed for the better in your community, being Democratic run? I mean, just ask those questions. You know, don't even tell them what your plan is or what you're going to do. Just ask them and get a feel for how they feel. You know, has anything changed for the better for you in the past X amount of years that you lived here? And then just base it off of that and get their input and say, well, you know what? I want to change things. Camden has the potential. It has a waterfront property there.
Yeah.
I mean, Camden it's on a river, but if you look at across the way into Philadelphia, there's so many riverfront properties there, and Penn's Landing is there. I mean, it's for Philadelphia. It's beautiful, you know, for Philly.
You always drive through that one right there on the Schuylkill, right, where they have all those row homes. The like not row homes, but like the actual row homes where for like oh my God, crew, right? Crew is what it is, where they paddle the boats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right?
Oh, you're talking about
the colleges or universities or fraternities, yeah.
Yeah, it's something row. I can't believe I don't remember it. But yeah, they dress it up for Christmas. I mean, all the lights, yeah, it's awesome over there. But yeah, but Camden has potential. It really does.
Absolutely.
If you get them elected in LD5, I'm sure they're going to do a lot for Camden. You know, and I'm sure Spadia will too. And I hope Chidorelli does if he wins. It's going to be one of those two. But
you know, you look.
Okay.
You look at a lot of these, you know, the cities, right? And, you know, you have a lot of lower income, you have a lot of poverty, you have a lot of, you know, just not able to thrive, but they're all Democrat run, right? Every single city is just Democrat run, and all the cities, it doesn't matter where you are, man, they need help.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's another segment I'm going to go. Let's remember that. Maybe we'll touch on that on the radio show. Let's look at all the Democrat-run cities, compare them to Republican-run either cities or somewhat urban, suburban. You know,
you're really not going to find a whole lot of the cities or urban, right? I mean, it will be more rural is usually where you find your more conservative, you know, leadership. But it's a shame because, you know, maybe some conservative leadership in some of these cities, we could really start to turn some of these places around and actually help these people grow. And it's really about thriving. You know, that's why I said I'm tired of seeing people just trying to survive. I want to see people thrive. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, so do I. So maybe we have maybe we have one of our Jersey tomatoes, you know, because the Jersey tomatoes are awesome. They're big, they're red, and they're juicy. That's why I picked Jersey tomatoes for the segment. So we won the state to go red. You know, Trump only lost it by 5 points. I think he probably could have won it by or come closer to that and maybe even won New Jersey. But I don't know, maybe not enough people came out for it, but I think New Jersey's ready to go red.
100%. 100%.
Rent is too damn high. You know,
everything is too high.
Yeah. So, but actually, well, we're talking about this on May 2nd. Bill Spady is having a rally. It's going to be at Bud's Farms from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a Bill Spady rally. It's at 131 Pemberton Road, Pemberton, New Jersey. And Jersey Shore podcast will be there. We'll have a table set up. We're going to have interviews set up. It's supposed to be a big event because Pineland Republican Club got involved. There's going to be a lot of people there. He's going to give a speech. We'll probably sit down, talk to him, have a lot of other people to interview, cover the whole thing. It's supposed to be a pretty big event. So anybody out there that wants to go, it's a rally for Bill Spadia. It is May 2nd, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., 131 Pemberton Road, Pemberton, New Jersey. So come out. You can hear Bill speak. There will be, I'm sure, there's many other people there that are either elected officials or people that are running that you can get to talk to as well. And the number one thing, you can come and talk to the Jersey Shore and tell us how you feel. Tell us what you want to see change in New Jersey. Why are you at a Bill Spady rally? I mean, I don't want to just interview people that are running or potential candidates in the future. I do want to talk to them, but I'm going to talk to anybody that wants to come and sit down for a minute or two and tell us where you live and what you're concerned about in New Jersey and why you're backing Bill Spady. Love to hear it. So, but we will be there, Jersey Shore. And I'll say it one more time, May 2nd at Bud's Farms from 6 to 8 p.m. Bill Spady rally, 131 Pemberton Road, Pemberton, New Jersey. So I hope we see you there.
Well,
So
I'll be trying to go. Right now, I'm scheduled to work that day, but I'm gonna try to switch some things around and see what I can make happen.
So, all right. So then we're going to be wrapping up the podcast now. We're going to go into our Patriot of the Week and our Loser of the Week. So let's jump into this segment 4.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Generation fighters,
All right.
stand from shore to shore. We reclaim the land, grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore, we make our stand.
Sorry, I jumped the gun there for a second. But one thing I want to say about the Pulse that we keep advertising. We're advertising. This is the longest advertised show that hasn't happened yet. It's been scheduling conflicts between the podcasters, but we finally got it together. So you'll be seeing the Pulse show come very, very soon. We keep promoting it because it's going to be a great show. And
sounds like the Psych Report.
Sounds like what?
The Psych Report.
The Psych Report. I never see it. Well, I was on you for so long. When's the Psych Report coming out? But I don't blame you now. You weren't running for assembly at that time, so you focused on that. So let's go into the Patriot Award first. Let's get that rolling. So there you go. The Patriot Award goes to Tom Homan. Tom Homan has been a beast out there. He's been saying it while Biden was in office, talking about the border, talking about how dangerous it is to let all these illegals in and hurting American citizens. And he's been on top of it. I was so glad he got appointed to be the head of ICE because he's serious about it. He cares about American citizens more than anything. And he said, you're going to get deported. You're here illegally. You're getting deported. I mean, he got into it with AOC, one of the clips I played, and she was getting on him about illegal immigrants never committed a crime. He said, yes, as soon as they cross their border, the article section, blah, 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 he just spit it right out. And she had nothing to say about it. But yeah, but Tom Homan, Patriot, definite for sure. He gets Patriot of the Week. He shouldn't have got it a long time ago, but he's doing a great job out there.
He should probably get Patriot of the Year at this point in time. I mean, he's out there trying to do that deportation and get a lot of these illegals out of here. So I mean, he's going hard constantly.
Yeah, I'll give it to him. He's a man of his word.
Yep.
So now we're going to go to the loser of the week.
Loser.
Losers! 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 Ah, shut up!
I love that little clip from South Park at the end there. But so loser of the week is going to Larry David. So Larry David is loser of the week, and I will tell you why. We talked about on the the last show you guys were on, I believe it was last Friday, I actually gave the Patriot Award to Bill Maher because he went and had dinner with Trump. And he came out afterwards and he said, you know what? He is a normal guy. He's not a monster. Still didn't agree with his policies, but he said he saw another side of him. And why not meet with the president? And I know Kid Rock set it up, and he came out and he told his crowd about it, told all his listeners and watchers on his show, because he caught a lot of flack about it. People were mad that he went and met with Trump. He said, well, why not? He said, I'm just telling you that I saw a different side of him, and he is a person. He's a normal. He's not a monster. But I told him I still don't agree with his policies, and he was fine with that at dinner, and they talked. I mean, that's how it should be. We can disagree on policies, but you're still an American, and he's still your president. So, I mean, honestly, if I had a chance to meet with Joe Biden, I wouldn't be that thrilled about it. I wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm going to have dinner with Joe Biden. He'd probably fall asleep in his pea soup.
I definitely wouldn't be bringing my kids there.
No. Touching hair on his legs, sniffing their hair. Yeah. That could have been a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go and try to talk to a dead person. I saw the Sixth Sense, so I could probably get through a conversation with them. But yeah, so the reason why Larry David is getting loser of the week, because right after Bill Maher met with him, he criticized him heavily. And he wrote this story, this little op-ed. And Larry David used to be funny. And when he created Seinfeld was a funny show. But what he wrote was actually supposed to be funny. There's not a funny thing about it. He wrote about, it was called My Dinner with Adolf. So he compared Trump to Hitler, of course. And he compared himself to Bill Maher. So he basically wrote and published it in the New York Times. And he was chastising Bill Maher, going to have dinner with President Trump. And he put himself in the place of him going to have dinner with Hitler. And he talked about how he hated Hitler and didn't agree with what he was doing. He's a monster. But then when he met Hitler, he actually told some jokes and he seemed normal, like a regular person. And then by the time he left, he didn't feel the same way about Hitler. And then I think at the end of the story, he becomes a Nazi himself. So that was the whole point of his story. It was stupid. Like, how do you compare Trump to Hitler? I mean, Hitler.
They've been doing it. They've been doing that, Damon. They just continue. Joe Biden went up there in Philadelphia, right across the water here, right across the bridge, behind the bright red lights, and said that the most dangerous threat to our democracy is MAGA Republicans. Couldn't be the dumbest thing. I mean, the dumbest thing I've ever heard anyone come out and say. People actually believe that. They believe that we're all racist and that we're all bigots and that we're all monsters. I mean, these are the cult members that listen to the news and, they just continue to listen to the propaganda and eat it up. And this guy here, Larry David, he's much of the same.
Yeah, he is. So you're the loser of the week. And by the way, Joe Biden did that in Philadelphia at the Constitution Center, and I built that building. So I was a little pissed off about that. I took pride in building that building. And he came out with that. So, but yeah, Larry David, you are the loser of the week because you're just a loser. I mean, there was no reason to write that. Bill Maher should be criticized for what he did. That's why I gave him the Patriot of the week. I don't agree with Bill Maher. So I think some of the stuff that he says is kind of funny sometimes. Yeah, sure. I don't watch his show because I don't like the stuff that he says and the stuff that he talks about. If I don't agree with it, but he's still a person. If I was ever to have dinner with Bill Maher, I'd jump in a second. I mean, he seems like he'd probably be a fun guy to have dinner with, even though we disagreed on policies, you know.
Well, we saw that with Bill Maher now, but we also saw it previously with Joe Scarborough, where they actually said we're going to go meet with Trump and talk to him, and that right there is the first key to waking people up and getting them out of this brainwashed, cult status that they're in. Is to actually have the media. I mean, we see Charlemagne the God come out and say, oh, well, maybe he's actually not a fascist. When you start seeing media, left-wing media say, wait a second, maybe this isn't quite correct. That's the first step to waking people up.
Yeah, it is. Well, they're waking up slowly. You're still going to have the crazies out there that you're never going to change. But either way, I mean, Larry David, like I said, I thought he was funny. Well, not his show. I didn't think his show, Curb Your Enthusiasm, was that funny. But when he created the Seinfeld show, I think Jerry Seinfeld actually made the show and the characters did. It was a pretty good show. But same thing with like Bill Burr. I thought Bill Burr was hilarious. I used to love his stand-up. And then he just went so woke that I can't even watch him anymore. And so just shut up. And talk about all these people that make money and have these platforms. And he says all this stuff. And then when he gets questioned on it, he said, hey, don't ask me. I'm just a comedian. And I'm like, wait a minute. You just commented on something. You're talking about Luigi Mangione and how proud you are that he shot that the healthcare guy. And then someone asked you a question on it. He goes, why are you asking me? I'm a comedian. Well, you effing said it, dude. You're talking politics during your show, and someone questioned you about your show, and the segment was the political part of it. And you're saying, don't ask me. I'm not a politician. Then shut up. I mean, don't say it then if you don't want people to ask about it. So, yeah. So Larry David, loser of the week. That's what it is. So we're gonna wrap up the show now, but I'm gonna get in first. I want to talk about Jonah Eisenberg. That's Seth from Conservative Corner. He actually called into our radio show last night. It was good to hear from him. He's starting to get better. He said he hopes that he'll be walking soon. He's been hospitalized in and out. I think what did he say last night? It was 34 days straight, and then he was back in and back out and back in.
Yeah, a month and a half or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's been out of work for like 4-5 months now, and the hospital bills are piling up. And he's a very modest man, and he didn't want to set anything like this up to this GoFundMe, but the GoFundMe's up there if you can help him out at all. That would be great, whether it's $1 or $5, whatever it may be. Seth is a great guy. He's a veteran. He served his country and just happened to get this bad infection. He actually posted on Facebook what it looked like. It was, sorry, Seth. It looked like something of a horse. They had to cut bone out of his spine. It was bad, man. I feel bad for him. He's a really good guy, and he has kids. And he's a vet. He doesn't deserve this. And he's struggling with his hospital bills. They're piling up. So if anybody can go on there, GoFundMe, and help him out, that would be great. So, and then moving on to the other podcasters, we have Alexandra Levine Live. She's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. She is our own Peter Ducey down at the White House. She has the White House press correspondent passes. And so our own Peter Ducey's down there, but Tuesdays and Thursdays, she's on from 8 p.m. She'll be on the Pulse on Wednesdays when we get that started. And I promise that's coming. It's not going to be like the Psych Report. It actually is real. It's going to come out. But, and then you can catch the Jersey Shore on, well, we're going to switch it up a little bit because it's getting a little much with the full-time job, 2 young kids and all that stuff. So I'm still going to stick with the Mondays at 8 p.m. And then when the Pulse starts, which is going to be soon, that'll be Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. And I have the radio show 92.1 WVLT That's from 5 to 6 p.m. And you can get that on Facebook Live. If you go on Facebook and just go in the search bar and search 92.1 WVLT, at the time you'll see us, Pete and I, live on Facebook. Or you could just Google it if you're out of range of the New Jersey area. You can just Google it and you stream it on your phone, one or the other. And then the Friday show, I'm basically going to play the radio show in place of this podcast. And then from home, I'll do a little bit extra afterwards. Or if I already have something pre-recorded, I'll put it in there because it's getting a little tight. My little man's got baseball games. He's got about 4 a week now. My daughter with her double headers with her lacrosse games. It's getting tough. And plus, I'm coming to the end of this job. I only have a couple months to get the CO, the certificate of occupancy, and I don't miss dates. So we're cramping down pretty
crunch time.
Yeah. So time to hit the deadline there. So everything's getting a little tough, but I'm not going anywhere. So thank you all for tuning in. And Pete, thanks for coming on. So
absolutely.
Remember, votejackandpete.com.
That's the one.
They're running for assembly in LD6, Camden County. So you'll be hearing a lot more from them. And so this is the Jersey Shore, SURE, because we're always sure. So stay alert, stay engaged, and always stay sure. Good night.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Raising the flag, we ain't never gonna lag. Stone cold hearts in the land of the free, galvanized truth, just you and me. Freedom ain't cheap, gotta hold tight. In Jersey, sure we'll win this fight. No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets, our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time. Jersey Shore, we got the fight. Stand together through the night. America first, raising the flag.